Raiders. They are 0-3, but again a deceiving 0-3 because of the schools that they've played. Meanwhile, the Wing Lions put on their best of the season as they totally dominated the Pottstown Trojans 35-0, and they are now 2-1 overall, 1-1 in the league. And Ronnie, this afternoon, I think with this great weather that we're now experiencing following the horrendous stuff that followed us, preceded us the past couple of days, we may see the ball in the air quite a bit this afternoon.
Well, I think we're going to see the ball in the air if the Lions can't run the ball, but they look to me as though they have some size advantage over the Phoenixville Phantoms. They also have a little bit more of a veteran squad than the Phantoms, and if Pius can run the ball, they will run the ball. Phoenixville, on the other hand, will put the ball up consistently throughout the game.
We're waiting for the scoreboard clock to be recycled down. Last time we were here, we had a bit of a problem. It took the first half to get it corrected, but right now it appears as though they do have things well in hand.
Another factor, Denny, to see Phoenixville put the ball in the air so often is not only the idea that Rife is such a good quarterback, but we've been told that Melvin Hampton, probably their best running back so far this season, is out with rib injuries, and we don't expect to see him playing the entire ball game.
Well, his name was mentioned in the starting lineups, but again, we'll see when they get possession here in the first quarter. Matt Stofko, number 40, will kick off for the Phantoms. The clock is now in order. 12 minutes recorded on the scoreboard. And we are set with the opening moments of this Chessmont League battle between the Phantoms of Phoenixville and the St. Pius X Winged Lions. Stofko's kickoff is looked at by Sean Parecki. It rolls out of bounds at about the 12, and the Wing Lions will have it 1st and 10 from their own 40. So good field position for the first Lions drive of the afternoon.
That's an intelligent play by Sean Parecki. Sean realizing that if the ball goes out of bounds, they get the ball on the 40, and there was no Phoenixville Phantoms down there to get on the ball, so he wisely allowed it to run out of bounds.
So our third look at the Wing Lions here on the PCTV Game of the Week. In the first encounter 2 weeks ago, they lost to Owen J. Roberts 34-7, then bounced back in a big way to beat Pottstown 35-0. Tommy Pufnock, the wideout. Quarterback is Jim McCloy. The handoff to John Ritchie, number 17. Ritchie filling in for the injured Matt Minnick, who sustained an ankle injury in the Pottstown battle.
Ricky gives up some size there as the tailback, but he catches the ball a little bit better than Minnick. Although Minnick's a better slash type runner, Ricky is not that poor of a substitute for Minnick.
He picked up 2 on the last play. It's 2nd down and 8 for the Wing Lions. McCloy to the air. His pass intended for number 80, Mike Reagan, goes incomplete, and it'll bring up a 3rd and 8 for the Wing Lions.
McCloy lost the mark there. He had plenty of time to throw the ball, and he would have picked up nice yardage on the sideline because the Phantom secondary was a little late getting to the coverage.
There's a good shot of the Wing Lions as they break the huddle. Got McCloy to quarterback. Fullback is John Chernesky. And the tailback is Ricky, number 17. Play fake. McCloy sprints right, keeps it himself, and he'll pick up the 1st down with plenty to spare as he's across the midfield stripe in the Phantom territory. 1st down, St. Pius X.
The Phantoms obviously feeling a pass play, dropped their secondary off very deep. The Lions ran them deep on a fly pattern on the sideline, and McCloy had plenty of time to get around the outside and pick up a nice gainer.
Jim Yoakum was the man who made the stop on McCloy, but not until he gained the 1st down. Wing Lions have it 1st and 10 at the Phoenixville 46. That is Matt Scarbeck, number 26, in motion. The handoff to Chernesky. And he rumbles right up the middle for about 5. Good gain on the 1st down play.
Phoenixville playing a 4-4 type defense, and if the Lions can run inside where they just attacked that time, they're going to have a pretty good day running the football. I wouldn't be just surprised to see the Lions come out and run some type of option play with McCloy, who is a fine option quarterback.
Wing Lions in their home navy with gold trim. Phoenixville in the purple pants with white jerseys. Second down and 5 for St. Pius X. The handoff again to Cherneski. Works to left side, and he'll gain perhaps a yard as he runs it to the 39. So it'll be third down and 4 for St. Pius X.
Fourth down by number 82, Mike Jeffries.
Just in the opening moments of play, you're in quarter number 1. Action coming to you from Coach Mick Stadium in Lower Pottsgrove. On third and 4, McCloy wheels, keeps it on the option, and he'll pick up another first down as he gets it to the 29-yard line. Pickup of 10, and it's the second first down of the initial quarter for St. Pius X.
A smart play there by Jimmy McCloy. The Phantoms in the 4-4 defense have their outside linebacker taking either the quarterback or the pitch man, and the end takes either the quarterback or the pitch. They can flip-flop around at times. Now, they attacked the pitch man rapidly, and McCloy had plenty of time to cut it inside and pick up a nice gain.
So the Wing Lions will be able to move it. McCloy, long count. First and 10 from the Phantom 29. Right across the middle, that is Yergi. And Yergi brought down at the 16-yard line by the Phantoms. Mike Fuga, number 23.
It was a perfect call. I don't know whether Jim McCloy audibled at the line of scrimmage, but the inside linebackers of the Phantoms were showing an obvious stunt, and they stunted inside, which gave the seam over the line where the linebackers normally would be, wide open to John Yergi.
So Yergi, the big 6'2", 190-pound senior tight end, hauls it in for another Wing Lion first down as it's first and 10 at the Phoenixville 16. That is Ricky, number 17. Plenty of running room, fights hard, and he's inside the 5 to about the 3-yard line. And it'll be first and goal to go for St. Pius X. And they've attacked the middle very successfully here running the ball.
They've mixed it up very well. They have a beautiful offensive drive. It's one that all coaches would be proud of. They started the ball at their own 40, and now they're knocking at the door. They've mixed it up well with the run and the pass. They've run both inside and outside.
So the Wing Lions have picked up 4 first downs in this drive that started at their own 40-yard line. Ricky again gets the call, and he is close to the goal line. Stopped short by about a half a yard.
Mike Fuga in on the stop, along with number 53, Jim Seibel.
So it'll be second down and goal to go. The ball spotted at the 1.
Big Bobby Preston, the left tackle of the Lions, lining up on the left side. They're going to run right over top of him.
McCloy takes it on the keeper, touchdown, St. Pius X. So the Wing Lions start at their own 40 and drive right downfield in 7 plays, capping it with a 1-yard plunge by McCloy to take a 6-0 lead. So Carl Janicki, number 27, will come in to try the point after touchdown. John Ritchie, number 17, will hold. Janicki's point after is good, and the score in the first period at St. Pius X 7, Phoenixville nothing.
St. Pius X 7, Phoenix.
Carl Janicki, 27.
We are back here at Coach Mick Stadium in Lower Pottsgrove, and 7:59 left here in the opening quarter, and the Lions on a 10-play, 60-yard drive lead it 7-0 on a 1-yard touchdown plunge by Jim McCloy. Janicki's kickoff attempt will roll out of bounds, much as Stofko's did for the Phantoms. So Phoenixville will start first and 10 from their own 40-yard line on their first drive of the afternoon, as we'll get a look at the quarterback, number 14, Brian Wright.
The Lion coaching staff is very high on Rob Preston, number 77, who they ran over for their first score. Syracuse University has been looking at Bobby, and Bobby's starting to come into his own as the season, gets started here. We're in our 4th ball game. He's getting stronger as each game goes by.
Rife, number 14, tried to cross up the defense on a keeper, and he is stacked up at the line of scrimmage, getting up number 72, Szynski, along with number 78, Mark Yerge, for the Winged Lions.
Well, they ran right at the strength of the Lion defense. We have Pyatt over there, who's over 200 pounds. We have Big Bobby Preston, the tackle, that's 245. And we have another fine tackle prospect in Joe Szynski. And they'll have trouble trying to run the ball inside against those big boys.
Steve Brill, number 84, and 86, Tony Nattle. Wide to the right side as the Phantoms elect to keep it on 2nd and 11. And Hampton, who was not expected to play and did not practice this week because of a rib injury, gets the call and a gain of about a yard. So it'll be 3rd and long for Phoenixville.
We should get the opportunity on this play to see Rife throw the football. They're in a passing down. It's 3rd and long, and he does have a real good arm.
Nattle wide to the right side on the bottom of your screen. There is Rife, a bullet intended for Nattle, and the pass a bit low, and that'll bring up a kicking situation for Phoenixville. Covering on the play, Tommy Pufnock for St. Pius X.
He did an outstanding job getting back there and setting his feet right and throwing the football. He followed through. It was really a well-thrown ball, except he was a little bit low on the trajectory. But he showed us something. He can throw the football.
So Tommy Pufnock, number 40, and Jim McCloy, number 11, drop back as the double safety for the Winged Lions. That is McCloy taking it at his own 28, breaking to the far sideline. Finally down as he runs it back to the 43-yard line. Good return by Jimmy McCloy. And with 6:42 remaining here in the opening quarter, it is 7-0 Winged Lions.
Again, the Lions get good field position. Jimmy McCloy made a nice catch on the punt return, advanced the ball upfield. The Lions elected to run a wall to the far side of our field and got real good field position now to bring up 1st down.
McCloy with Chernesky and Ricky behind him, or Richie, excuse me. John Ritchie, the ball carrier, breaks across midfield and runs it to the Phantom 45-yard line. Pick up 7 yards on the carry, and it'll be 2nd down, and we'll call it 3.
Jimmy McCloy, the quarterback for the Lions, tried to take on number 65, Ken McNeil, and it looked like he got a little bit of a headache there because Ken McNeil did a real good job defensively.
Winged Lions with early lead, 7-0, and looking for it. That's Scarbeck in motion. The handoff to Ritchie, number 17. Off the right side, and he'll pick up another Winged Lion 1st down. Their 5th of the 1st quarter, and it'll be 1st and 10 for St. Pius 10th from the Phoenixville 40-yard line. And on the stop was Jim Yokin, number 54 for the Phantoms. Phoenixville is 0-3 overall, having lost to Radnor, Westchester, Henderson, and Coatesville. Winged Lions have defeated Exeter and Pottstown while losing to O&J Roberts. On 1st and 10, the handoff to the big back, John Chernesky. And Chernesky running right up the gut will pick up about a yard. That'll be 2nd down and 9 for the Winged Lions.
John Chernesky hesitated a little bit there with his feet. He didn't hit up in the hole like he had been hitting up in the hole, and I thought he could have, ran up in there a little bit tougher on that play. He picked up about 2 yards, but again, I don't think he hit up in there with any great authority.
We have an official's timeout on the field right now as John Chernesky is adjusting his right shoe as it appeared to come off on that last play. So time back in here at Coach Mick Stadium. Phantoms down by 7, trying to hang tough here against the Winged Lions.
Beautiful day out here at Coach Mick Stadium. Just a gorgeous day for a high school football game.
On 2nd down, the play fake. McCloy looking downfield. He's got Yerge open. Yerge with the catch. Yerge running down inside the 10-yard line. Mike Fuga, number 23, along with an assist from Todd Wallens, made the stop on the big tight end who was wide open. And the Winged Lions again threatening inside the Phantom 10.
Well, the Lions being able to hold off the 4-man front of the Phantoms gave McCloy plenty of time, gave the receivers plenty of time to clear the zones. The secondary can only do so much. If the Phantoms are going to hope to to stop that throwing attack, they're going to have to bring some linebackers on some stunts.
First and goal to go from the 8. That's Ritchie, number 17. Good tackle by number 66, Stanton Ford, as Ritchie appeared to have a little bit of running room on the outside. Pickup of 2. It'll be second and goal from the 6.
It's the one thing you give up defensively when you run the 4-4 defense. You don't have the same type of rush unless you bring some linebackers, and you have more offensive people on less defensive people. In order to be successful and get to the quarterback, they're going to have to bring some people to take away all that time that Jimmy McCloy had to throw the football.
Second and goal from the 6. That's Ritchie taking the pitch back, and he stopped right at the line of scrimmage. It's number 32 for the Phantoms, Brett Smiley. 5'9", 160-pound junior came up to put the hit on Ritchie. So now it is third and goal, and the ball spotted at the 6.
Well, the Phantoms are coming to life down here as they defend their 6-yard line, and they made 2 very fine defensive plays, forcing the Lions into third and long. The Lions haven't gained anything the previous 2 plays.
Let's see what the Wing Lions do on 3rd and 6. Check that 3rd and goal from the 6. McCloy sprints right and overthrows a wide open John Yerge. Yerge was standing just over the goal line, and Jim McCloy, when he hit the deck, just threw his hands up in despair as he's saying, oh my God, I overthrew my receiver.
This will be exciting. I think they're going to put their field goal unit in. Ricky has a fairly strong leg, and he's lining up for the field goal attempt to see if they can increase their lead to 10-0.
So Carl Janicki, number 27, who was the kicking specialist for the Wing Lions, will try to boot a 24-yard field goal out of the hold of John Ritchie. Snap is back, kick is up, and it is good. So with 3:07 left in the first quarter, it's the Wing Lions 10 and the Phoenixville Phantoms nothing. Back here at Coach Mick Stadium in Pottstown, it is 10-0 in favor of the Wing Lions as Carl Janicki will kick off for St. Pius 10th. Deep the receiver, Wallets, number 45, and number 32 for the Phantoms, Brett Smiley. Wallets for Phoenixville with a good return up to the 33-yard line, and the Phantoms will have good position to start their second drive of the afternoon. As we get another look at Brian Reif and Melvin Hampton and company.
Phoenixville did a nice job on the run back. That's what hurt St. Pius 10th in their second game against O&J when Crossman went 87 yards for on a punt return. So I'm sure that they're really working on their specialty teams.
Outside the O&J Roberts game, I'm going to point out an interesting stat. We will after this play. Reif with a one-step drop back, and the pass right off the shoulder pads of the intended receiver, number 86, Tony Nattle.
That throw had nothing to do with Reif being off target. He hit Nattle right in where he should have hit him, and Nattle just didn't make the catch.
So it is second down and 10. And as we were saying earlier, the Wing Lions have not allowed a point in the first quarter of any game dating back to November of 1982, with the exception of the O&J Roberts game here 2 weeks ago. So that proud Lion defense playing up to their expectations here this afternoon. 2:37 left here in the opening quarter. Hampton fumbles the pitch back, and it's recovered by the Wing Lions. So the Wing Lions will try to take advantage of the Phoenixville turnover. As let's pick up the number, 77, Rob Preston made the recovery. Making that hit was number 44, Joe Andrews. So the Phoenixville Phantoms already in the hole 10-0. Will have their backs to the wall here in the final 2:31 of this, the first quarter.
Something interesting to note, in high school football, just as in the pros, you can advance a fumble if you can pick it up.
McCloy going for it all. Pass intended for Pufnock, a bit too far. Covering on the play, number 45, Todd Wallens.
Tom did a good job defending that against Tommy Pufnock. The ball was hanging up there for a while, and there was excellent coverage there by the Phoenixville Phantoms. As I was saying, you can advance a fumble in high school and in pro football. You cannot advance a fumble in college football under the NCAA ruling.
It's 2nd down and 10 for the Wing Lions from the Phoenixville 26-yard line. McCloy running the option. Elects to keep it himself and is met head on. And that looked like Eric Knight, number 88, made the stop.
Have a man shaking up a little bit down there in the field, number 88 for the Phantoms.
All right, folks. We're going to take another look at that last Phoenixville fumble. There you see Hampton, number 33, being nailed, and Preston dropping on the loose position for the Lions. There's an innovation. Another innovation here by PCTV, full of surprises.
Additional announcement, again, Sunday, October 14th, St. Pius Tent will host the pancake in the school cafeteria from 8 a.m.
So with a minute 37 left here in the opening quarter. The Lions have it 3rd and 5. Ball is spotted at the 21-yard line of Phoenixville.
From 8 a.m. to 1 p.m.
It looked to me as Jimmy McCloy collided with number 88, Eric Knight. It looked as though Eric was a little shaken up. I don't know whether they removed Eric from the lineup or not. I really can't tell out of the field.
Against Downingtown.
Well, it looked like that time, as most quarterbacks do when they're about to get hit, they'll duck and try to protect themselves. And Knight took the brunt of the collision.
Well, I would have to suspect that that particular option play, no one appeared immediately to take the quarterback, and it caused McCloy to do a little bit of stutter stepping, which really isn't what he should be doing. He wants to either get up inside or pitch the football.
See what the Wing Lions can do with it on 3rd and 5. Pufnock, the wide out to the left side. Handoff goes to Ritchie, number 17. He is dropped in a nice tackle by the Phantoms' Gary Stevens, number 83, for a loss of about 2.
Gary Stevens did a good job making inside penetration at the point of attack, got behind the blocking wall, and made a tackle for a loss.
Hey fans, if your group or organization or even yourself ever need any screen printing work, we at PCTV heartily recommend you give Preston Miller a call at Miller Screen Printing and Truck Lettering. Whether it be t-shirts, jackets, caps, sweatshirts, or if your business needs your truck letter, you can always count on Miller Screen Printing and Truck Lettering. It is 4th and 6 for the Wing Lions. Time running out here in the opening quarter. McCloy, the pitch back, the end around of Tommy Pufnock. One man the beat. He gets around Wallens. Now Fuga. Pufnock dances down the sideline. Touchdown, Wing Lions. So a gutsy bit of razzle-dazzle on 4th and 6, and it pays off in another score for St. Pius Tent.
An outstanding offensive play. It looked to be like they were running the option to their right side, and Pufnock, the flanker, coming back on the option reverse, did a real nice job breaking a tackle to pick up the first down, and then breaking another 2 tackles to get into the end zone.
47 seconds left here in the opening quarter, and the Wing Lions, who lead at 16-0, looking to make it 17-zip. Janicki's extra point is good, and we're going to have a penalty flag on the play. The kick should be good. It appears as though the foul will be going against the Phantoms, as Janicki took a big hit there from number 83 of the Phantoms, Gary Stevens.
Ironically, on that type of play, if you hit the man and the ball, it's not a penalty. But if you miss the ball...
Well, let's take a look at the screen and take a look at the replay of that Pufnock touchdown. Maybe you can comment on it.
Just a great job. They ran the out, looked like the option to their right side. They came back to Pufnock, the flanker, who came back trailing, and it was a reverse. And the defensive line of the Phantoms and the linebackers went quickly with flow, and they came back with a nice reverse type play.
All right, we'll take another look at that Pufnock touchdown just before the start of quarter number 2.
What makes a play like that work is the fact that you set it up. You run the option, and then you come back with the reverse, because you get the defense moving with motion.
All right, so the 15-yard for roughing the kicker walked off against the Phantoms, and Janicki will kick off from the Phoenixville 45-yard line. Wallens 45, and number 32 Smiley deep for Phoenixville. That's Smiley. Smiley is buried at the 14-yard line. Let's take another look at that Pufnock touchdown.
Here they're going, they're showing option to the right side. They come back. Instead of giving to the tailback, they give it on the reverse to Pufnock. Pufnock breaks 2 tackles and does an excellent job getting into the end zone.
All right, folks, again, we said we would try to be innovative here at PCTV. Do want to apologize. We're trying to work the kinks out of our replay system. But bear with us because we want you to be able to see all the big plays here at our PCTV featured games of the week. 43 seconds left here in the opening quarters. The Phantoms will go to work deep in their own end at the 15-yard line. Rife going to the air. Intended for number 84, Steve Brill, just off his fingertips. And again, Rife has been on the money for the most part. Just the receivers have had numb hands this afternoon.
Well, there, Mark Yerge, the inside left linebacker of the Lion defense, came back to his hook zone, 8 to 10 yards, and the receiver got beyond him. And if the ball would have been caught, it would have been a nice gain. I think next time we're going to see Yerge get back just a little bit further and make that defense or that offensive receiver go inside of him.
2nd and 10 for Phoenixville from their own 15. Missed handoff there that was intended for Smiley, number 32, so Wright forced to eat the ball.
The Phantom offensive line giving up a lot of weight to the Lion defense, and it's starting to show here early or late into the first quarter.
13 seconds left here in quarter number 1, and the Winged Lions with right now a very comfortable 17-0 advantage. And I do not believe that the Phantoms will get this playoff before we get the whistle. There it is. That's the end of quarter number 1. The score: St. Pius 10-17 and Phoenixville nothing. Back here at Coach Mick Stadium, we're into the opening moments of quarter number 2 as Brian Rife on a 3rd and long tried to keep it himself after another busted play, losing his shoe in the process as he was brought down by the middle of the Wing Lion interior defensive line. So it is 4th as 7 yards to go for Phoenixville's number 82, Mike Jeffers, drops back to boot it away for Phoenixville. Pufnock takes it on the run at the 42-yard line, and he's brought down. Check that, Jimmy McCloy, number 11, caught it on the dead run and brings it back to the 35-yard line. So the Wing Lions with very good field position for their 4th drive of the afternoon.
Phoenixville hustling down there on the punt coverage. If Joe Suzenski would have been able to get a block, that might have sprung McCloy, but I think Joe did a smart move there. We see so many flags on these specialty teams, and I know Joe did not want to clip there, so he just kind of shied away from the block.
McCloy with Cherneski, Ritchie, and Scarbeck in the backfield. The man in motion, Scarbeck on the carry, and he trips his own self up as he slipped moments after taking the handoff. So his knee touched about a yard behind the line of scrimmage, perhaps a couple more. So it'll be 2nd and 12 for St. Pius 10.
The Lions doing a good job mixing up the first quarter statistics. They had 70-some yards rushing and 70-some yards passing to balance it out.
On the draw, Ritchie, number 17, stripped up by number 74, Todd Van Horn. Did manage to pick up a few yards, and for the Wing Lions, they'll be looking at a 3rd and 8 yards to go situation. Tommy Pufnock back into the Wing Lion lineup, replacing number 80, Mike Reagan.
The play was a sprint draw, and they did have some room if they wouldn't have tripped up Ricky.
Play fake to Ritchie. McCloy looking for Yerge. He's got him. And the big tight end makes a good catch with a Phantom defender hanging all over him. Number 25. That was Hugh Ulrich. And it's another Wing Lion first down.
Well, the Phantoms are going to have to put some more pressure on Jimmy McCloy. Jimmy's having a field day standing back there throwing the football, and he has some nice targets in Yerge and in Pufnock. They are fine receivers. So I think the Phantoms are going to have to do some cheating, some stunning to put some more pressure on Jimmy McCloy.
First and 10 for Pius. That is Ritchie off the left side. And John Ritchie running hard, close to the 15-yard line. Making the stop for Phoenixville was a host of white-shirted defenders, led by Wayne Leroy, number 76. Here's the first quarter stats, Ron.
You can see that the Phantoms had only 1 yard rushing. They had no yards passing, which is unusual because of Reif, their good quarterback, for a total yardage of 1, while the Lions had 86 rushing, 78 passing for a total of 164 yards.
Second down and 4 for St. Pius 10th from the Phoenixville 15. John Chernesky gets the call, and on the carry, he picks up about 3 yards down to the 12. So it'll be third down and short for St. Pius 10th. There's Marty Moore, the head coach of the Phoenixville Phantoms.
Marty Moore does an outstanding job for the Phantoms. Marty's a good friend of mine personally, and Marty's really into the game, enjoys working with the kids, and he's had some very, very good football teams at Phoenixville over his coaching tenure.
On third and short, McCloy on the keeper. Appears to have picked up enough for the first down. And let's see where they spot the ball after they unscramble the pile. And it is a first down for the Winged Lions. The ball will be just shy of the 10-yard line. So they will have an opportunity to go for a first down. But of course, right now, the Winged Lions can smell blood right now. They would like to try to put this ball game away and give some of the reserves a little bit of action. Winged Lions came up big last week against Pottstown, doing the same right now against the Phantoms. Play action, McCloy on the keeper. Dives for the corner, and he's in for a touchdown. Jimmy McCloy runs it home from 10 yards out, and the Winged Lions now lead it 23-0.
You could hear Jim Mick, the coach of the Winged Lions, yelling out to the field, "Run it, run it." He gets excited. He thinks he's playing the game sometimes, and he saw that the secondary dropped off, that they had a lot of room to run the ball, and McCloy did wisely listen to his coach, and he got into the end zone.
That is McCloy's second touchdown of the afternoon. He scored the first for the Winged Lions from 1 yard out. It's Carl Janicki, number 27, comes on to attempt the point after touchdown. And Janicki's kick is blocked. Number 82 got a big pull on that. So the score in the second quarter, it's St. Pius 10, 23, Phoenixville nothing.
7:49 remaining.
Back here at Coach Mick Stadium, 7:49 left until halftime, and the Winged Lions with a commanding 23-0 lead as Carl Janicki kicks off. The boot taken by Brett Smiley, number 32. Smiley had a little bit of daylight there for just a moment before number 41, Sean Porecki, came in to put the hit on Mr. Smiley. So the Phoenixville Phantoms will have it first and 10. Here's a replay of that last touchdown.
Take a look now. McCloy comes out on a sprint out action. He sees he can get to the end zone. His coach is yelling, "Run the ball," and he runs the ball, gets right to the corner of the end zone, and he makes a nice score. Lions so far are doing an outstanding job mixing up the run, the throw, mixing up who they're giving the ball to. It's putting a lot of pressure on the Phantom defense.
First and 10 for Phoenixville, down 23-0. The handoff to Melvin Hampton, number 33. Hampton going nowhere, and I mean nowhere, as number 81, John Yergi, made the hit. And there were a few more Winged Lions also in on the stop.
John Yergi made a tackle there that every coach would be proud of. He wrapped his arms around Hampton. If Melvin didn't have sore ribs before, he certainly does now. He picked them all up, and then he kept his feet driving. Just an outstanding defensive play by Yergi. He's an impressive-looking kid when you look down on the field. He's a big kid, and I think he can be even better than what he's played so far.
Second and 10 for the Phantoms, who have been able to do anything offensively here through the first quarter and a half. Handoff, and he'll get a couple of yards on the play.
number 77, Bob.
Hey folks, the weather's changing and now's the time to have your car winterized at the experts. Rick's Auto Care, 2223 East High Street, across from the Saratoga Fire Company. Stop in to say hello to Rick or Rob. Stop in today or call 327-2125. On 3rd and long, right to the airway, across the middle, and the pass complete to number 21, Hunt Lyon. And he may be close to the initial first down of the afternoon for Phoenixville. We may get a measurement. No, they say that he does have enough for the first down. So that's the first time this afternoon that Brian Reif has been able to click, and not because his passes haven't been on the money, but Hunt Lyon made a good grab across the middle, and Phoenixville is now on the move. A fumble, and it looks like Brian Reif, number 14, was able to pounce on it for Phoenixville. And Ron, it's a bit mysterious that a team down 23-0 early in the ball game with a fine passing quarterback doesn't put it in the air much more often.
Well, I think they're trying to establish something out there, and they have to try to control the football. They don't want the Lions offense to get the ball back. They have to try to mix up the run and the pass to get something going, a little bit of confidence, and also they don't want the Lions to be on offense.
Penalty flag in the direction of the Phoenixville backfield as Reif tried to get a pass off, and in desperation just sort of flung it towards the ground. No receiver in the area, but it was more out of the frustration of being harassed by the Wing Lion defense.
That may be another reason why the Phantoms are not throwing the ball more. The Lion defense can unload, bring their stunt, and they put a lot of pressure on Brian Reif. Now, Brian did make a sophomoric mistake there. After he had the pressure, he was just as well to eat the football and take the loss, but he did try to throw the ball, and that's a mistake for a young quarterback. And he'll grow, and he'll season with some age.
Penalty for illegal motion. They'll take the loss instead of the penalty. So it'll be 3rd down and about 20 yards to go for the Phantoms. They send Naddle to the bottom of your screen, and Steve Brill to the right side as the wideout. The draw play goes to Hampton, number 33. And Hampton tripped up by the Winged Lions. No, let's check that number. It was number 14, Chris Schwab. So it'll be 4th and long, and that means we should see Mike Jeffers, the punter, for the Phantoms.
Chris Schwab made a nice play there because the linebackers inside stunted, and they over-penetrated, and they would have missed the tackle, and Schwab made a tackle to save the first down. One thing they drill these young linebackers to not over-penetrate when you're coming on the stunt, to make sure the man doesn't get beyond you.
4th down and 16 as Jeffers, number 82, will boot it away. Good kick. This time taken by Pufnock at the 33. Fakes the reverse. He's got a little bit of running room if he can get by the primary coverage. And we're going to have a penalty flag thrown in the direction of big number 78, Mark Yerge. 4:07 left in the second quarter. The score, St. Pius 10-23, Phoenixville nothing. Grow as the Wing Lions lead at 23-0, and with 3:58 left to go here until halftime, they have the ball once again. That is Matt Scarback taking the pitch back, and Scarback working the right side, picks up a couple of the yards. They'll give him 3. It'll be 2nd down and 7 for the Wing Lions.
I don't know why it is, but when these big offensive linemen make mistakes, it's apparent, because we knew on that punt return that Yerge made a clip because he looked at the official like, I didn't do anything.
Ball spotted at the St. Pius 29-yard line. Scarbeck again. Dives over the left side, close to a first down. This reminder, any use of the pictures, descriptions, video, or audio portions of this program without the express written consent of the Borough Pottstown Cable TV Commission and St. Pius 10th High School is prohibited.
There's Jim Mick, the head coach of the Wing Lions. Highly successful, has done an outstanding job here. They've named the field after him. He's really part of the foundation here at St. Pius X.
Love the way he stalks the sidelines on a Saturday afternoon.
He's a miserable loser.
Jim McCloy on the keeper, picks up another first down for the Wing Lions. McCloy has enjoyed much success here in the first 2 quarters running the ball. So touchdowns, a pair of them by Jim McCloy, one by Tommy Pufnock and a Carl Janicki. Field goal from 24 yards out have accounted for all the scoring, as the Wing Lions right now lead at 23-0, and 2:37 remains until halftime. Long count by McCloy. The handoff goes to Scarbeck. And Scarbeck will pick up a couple of yards. Number 61, Dan Rain on the stop for the Phoenixville Phantoms.
Matt Scarbeck trying to get something going. He had a brilliant game in the opener against Exeter, where he carried the ball 4 times for 77 yards. The last several games he's been silent somewhat, so he's looking to have a big game here today.
Lions right now contend to try to work the clock in their favor as McCloy looked for Pufnock on the left wing. Pass a bit short, and McCloy really got decked on that play, Ron.
Yes, McCloy threw the ball a little bit too hurried. He didn't get his feet set, didn't quite get the time, and Len Sherman, the defensive back for the Phantoms, was more or less giving the sideline there because it wouldn't have been a first down, and he was going to give him a short gain on that play.
So it's 3rd and 7 for St. Pius X. Play fake. McCloy looking for Reagan. He's got him. Pass complete to Mike, and he'll be brought down about the 39-yard line of Phoenixville. Number 65 made the stop, Ken McNeil.
Jimmy McCloy really looks impressive back there. He's standing in there so tough, giving his receivers time to clear, and he's just picking the Phantom secondary apart. He just looks outstanding throwing the football today.
Minute and 30 left here in the second quarter. This time Tommy Pufnock on the receiving end of the aerial from Jimmy McCloy.
Tommy Pufnock is complete.
We're going to take another look at that last pass play from Jim McCloy to
He has
Reagan.
the time. He sits in the pocket. He throws the ball beautifully over the middle, and that was a real fine catch by the receiver. I think the Lions are going to try to get one more score on the board before half, and I wouldn't be surprised in the second half if they get a lot of the younger players in this ball game.
From the 35 on 2nd and 6, that's Scarbeck. Twisting and turning away from a couple of defenders, finally brought down by number 25, Hugh Ulrich. Gain of maybe a half a yard as the Wing Lions will call timeout with 1:17 left here in the second quarter.
Phantom's defense did an outstanding job on that play, and Scarbeck ran hard, but the Phantom defense was tenacious.
There's a shot of us up in our perch high atop Coach Mick Stadium. Wave. Ronnie's going to wave too. Larry, Tom, we got everybody up here with us today.
You know, really looking at that screen, we look better from a distance.
You might.
I have my brother Tommy next to me, and they don't have him in the screen because he may not be quite good looking enough. He's laughing. Little does he know that we've been most serious up here.
It's those high standards PCTV is set. It's 3rd down and 6. When we return from this timeout, as Jim Mick is talking to his Chargers right now.
We had a chance to talk about Jim Mick after the O&J loss, where the Lions looked as though they had quite given up in the second half. Talking to the players that were our guest on the magazine show, they really had a difficult practice that Monday. And the Lions have a tradition here that when they lose a game, they know they've lost it until they vindicate themselves with a win. They came out strong in the Pottstown game, and they look very, very strong today.
On 3rd and 6, McCloy on the option. Pitch back to Scarbeck. Scarbeck fighting, and he may have the first down, depending upon where they spot the ball. She did a good job of bouncing off of 2 defenders and diving for the sideline marker. Hey fans, I know on our PCTV telecast we don't get too much of an opportunity to see the marching bands, but let me remind you that on October the 13th, which is a Saturday at 7 p.m. at Grigg Memorial Field, the Pottstown Music Association is sponsoring the Cavalcade of Marching Bands. Get out there and enjoy the fine dedication of these young musicians. If you can't make it, later in October you'll be able to see the highlights of that competition right here on PCTV. Minute and 6 left as Scarbeck managed to pick up the first down. McCloy looking for Yergi. He's got it, and he fights down to the 5-yard line. That's the 4th catch of the afternoon for the big tight end, and it'll be 1st and goal to go for St. Pius X.
Yergi just put those big paws up there, the soft hands, tucked the ball in. Just an excellent catch by Yergi. Nice throw by Jimmy McCloy. As I say, I think John Yergi is going to get better and better as the season progresses.
On 1st and goal to go, that is John Ritchie. And Ritchie down to the 2. Let's take another look at that last pass play to Yergi.
Jimmy McCloy drops back. He's going to just take 2 steps. He's going to set his feet, throws a beautiful pass. Yergi's nice soft hand, pulls it in, and a good receiver catches the ball with their hands, not with their body. You youngsters are watching our games. Look at these good receivers because they catch the ball with the hands. They don't let it bounce off the shoulder pad.
Timeout called by the Phoenixville Phantoms with just 52 seconds left until halftime. Phoenixville on the short end of a long 23-0 score.
I would add a tip to what we just talked about for some of the youngsters out there. When you field a punt return or a kickoff return, then you have to get your both arms close to your body and look the ball in. There you don't lift your hands up to catch it, but you let the ball cradle because you get your arms to your side and let the ball look itself in.
We're going to have a little more fun with our PCTV trivia question. This week we got an easy one for you, Ron. Again, it will be a question that will pertain to one of the 2 teams here this afternoon, and that'll be coming up in the 3rd quarter. And I know that you studied the Chessmont book last week.
I've had so much time studying that I'm having trouble concentrating on what I do.
McCloy for John Yergi and another Wing Lion touchdown. McCloy paid for it, but Yergi with those big soft hands hauls in the pass for the 4th score of the afternoon, and it's 29-0 with just 49 seconds left in quarter number 2. Here's another look at that last touchdown.
They sprint out to the right side. McCloy throws the ball. Yergi's defensive back is giving up a couple inches, and Yergi makes a fine catch.
Carl Janicki will attempt the 30th point out of the hold of John Ritchie. We'll have a penalty flag.
The last extra point was blocked. It looked to me as the Lions allowed some inside penetration over number 76, Jesse Crater. Now, Jesse showed us that they probably came inside of him because he had that look about him that he made a boo-boo.
So they'll walk off the 5-yard penalty for offsides against St. Pius X. So they'll move it back 5 yards. Janicki again will attempt a PAT. His kick is up, and it is plenty good. So with 49 seconds left in the 2nd quarter, it's St. Pius X 30 and the Phoenixville Phantoms nothing. So Ronnie, it's been a big first half for St. Pius X.
Well, they haven't been able to do anything wrong. McCloy's had a lot of time throwing the football. He's just picked the secondary apart. They've gone to several receivers. Yergi looks very good. Also, Tommy Pufnock's a fine receiver. They've mixed up the run. We've had Pufnock running the ball as well as Ricky.
Stay with us at halftime, folks. In addition to Ron and I analyzing the first half of play, my special guest will be Bill March, the supervisor of officials for the Chessmont League. And we'll have a couple of interesting looks at just what the men in the zebra shirts do on Friday nights and Saturday afternoons throughout the Chessmont circuit. Janicki's kickoff, a bouncer taken by Brill, number 84, and he downs it as his knee, without thinking, touched about the 25-yard line. So the Phantoms with decent field position, and will have 46 seconds with which to try to do something here in the first half.
It's very probable that the Lion defense will drop off and go to their prevent type defense where they will not allow the receiver to get behind them. Be interesting to see if Rife will try to go deep or try to work the ball inside of the defenders with 33 seconds and the clock winding.
Rife sends Nattles, the lone wide out to the left side. Going deep downfield. Nice ball, and it's picked off by Sean Porecki. Pass intended for number 84, Steve Brill, and Porecki with position. Both left at the same time, but the wing Lion defender came down with the pigskin. So St. Pius X will regain possession with 22 seconds left here in the second half.
We see that Rife goes back on the drop back, gets a little bit of pressure, throws the ball deep, but the Lion defense is told not to get beat deep with less than 30 seconds remaining, and Porecki did an outstanding job coming up with a big interception. I think we're going to see the Lions just sit on the ball here with 7 seconds.
McCloy will take the long count and just let time expire. And there's the whistle signifying halftime. The score at the end of 2 quarters of play from Coach Mick Stadium is St. Pius 10-30 and Phoenixville nothing. I'll be back with my... you do as the commissioner of the Chessmont League?
My main duties are to supervise the we have quite I don't think
and there's a group of youngsters here this afternoon who are taking the ball game in.
Here's my son. He over there to the right of the screen waving. I promised him last week he'd be on TV, watch the entire game. He was very disappointed. Otherwise he wouldn't have watched it. There's Coach Pasoda's daughter Steph waving, and other daughter Trisha. And we have some other neighborhood kids along with another little boy, Sean Reed, waving out there to the right-hand side in the brown jacket. Good shot of the St. Pius X trainer, Michael Guntik. It's a lot of work by these trainers, statisticians, and other people involved.
There's Lisa Lashinsky, part of the cheerleading corps here at St. Pius X High School. The course leaders do an outstanding job for the Wing Lions and all the schools throughout the Chessmont League. And the Phantoms drop to receive to start the second half. The Wing Lions walk onto the field with a 30-0 advantage as Carl Janicki, number 27, you see on your screen to the left, will tee it up to boot the ball and get things underway here in quarter number 3. Jimmy McCloy with a pair of touchdowns and single tallies by Tommy Plufnock and John Yergin. A 24-yard field goal by Janicki have accounted for the Wing Lions scoring this afternoon. Good kickoff by Janicki. That is taken by Todd Wallens. Bounces off of Brett Smiley. Number 32, Smiley picks it up. The 5 gets it back to about the 17-yard line. So what could have been another major disaster is averted by Phoenixville. Let's take a look at the first half stats.
Well, we see there's a big advantage for the Winged Lions. They had 133 yards rushing and 102 yards passing for a total yardage of 235. We had 11 first downs compared to the Phantoms 1. The Phantoms, on the other hand, had 13 yards rushing, 8 passing for a total yardage of 21. The Lions certainly had a good balance indicated there between the rush and the pass.
First and 10 for Phoenixville. Rife with the handoff to Smiley, number 32. And Smiley gets maybe a yard. Stopped by 72, Joe Szynski, the big interior lineman for the Wing Lions. Gain of 3. It'll be second down and 7 for the Phoenixville Phantoms. Again, they trail 30-0 as the Wing Lions. We'll try to take a look at some of the younger players a little bit later on in the second half. Rife, number 14, is the quarterback. And on second down, Smiley again, the ball carrier. He goes nowhere. As number 77, Bob Preston, made the hit for St. Pius 10.
Bob Preston has the size to be a major college prospect if he keeps working and looking as good as he did on that previous play. The coaching staff for the Winged Lions are very high on Bobby, and Bobby seems to be getting better and better as this young season goes on.
On third and long, Rife sprinting right. Pass, good catch by number 84, Steve Brill. Brilliant catch as he lunged for the ball to his right, and the Phantoms pick up the initial first down of this quarter number 3. We'd like to thank Crane Maintenance Testing and Inspection of Douglasville providing this platform for us this afternoon. And I'd like to remind you that they inspect, repair, and install hydraulic cranes, ladder booms, and all types of hydraulic equipment. So keep Crane Maintenance Testing and Inspection in mind for your industrial needs. And say hello to Dennis Miller up at Crane Maintenance Testing and Inspection of Douglasville.
We missed a play during that commercial, Denny, but what they did, Rife went back and he threw over the hook zone area. The receiver got in front of the linebackers, made a nice catch. They picked up 5 yards. On the big first down play previous to that, Rife showed me a lot of heart because he was under a pretty fine rush by the Lion defense, and he hung in there tough.
On second down 5, that is Todd Wallens, number 45. Wallens running hard. Was hit by Yergi, number 81, and number 60, Mike Hale. But it appears as though he did pick it up for the first down, and the Phantoms now have put together back-to-back first downs for the first time in this ball game. 9:39 left here in quarter number 3 from Coach Mick Stadium, as the Phantoms, who trail 30-0, have quarterback Brian Rife lead them to the line of scrimmage. The blitz is on. The pass is picked off by number 14. That's Brian, check that, Chris Schwab. And Schwab was playing the outside left that time. Just parked himself right in front of that aerial from Brian Rife and returns it after a nice game. So it'll be first and 10, St. Pius 10.
Very nice play by Chris Schwab. Chris Schwab made a real big play last week in the Pius Trojan game to get the momentum for the Lions going. That was a fine play, and with the exception of one tackler, he could have been in the end zone.
That's Scarback as the Wing Lions just about salted this game away, barring any major comeback. And let's take a look at that interception.
We see Rife go back, take 2 steps, drop, gets under tremendous pressure. Schwab picks off the ball. If he can outrun the 1 second there, Phantom there, he's into the end zone.
No gain on that carry by Scarbeck. It's second down and 10.
An advantage to that short drop by Rife is that he gets a quick delivery, but on the other hand, he gets pressure quicker.
And the penalty flags fly from all directions, as it appears the Wing Lions took a little bit too much time. So they'll walk off the penalty for a delay of game against the Wing Lions. And that penalty will bring up a second down and 16 for St. Pius 10.
You know, you had the opportunity to talk to Bill Marsh, the officials leader here in the Montgomery County and Chestmont League, and what the officials have done and the rules have done a good job in is keeping the players with their mouthpieces in. We've only seen one penalty in the season so far for that type of penalty, because they do charge you if you don't have a proper equipment.
On second and long for St. Pius. McCloy with the handoff to Big John Chernesky, and Chernesky right up the middle for about 2 yards. So that'll be 3rd and 14 as the ball will be spotted at the 29-yard line of Phoenixville.
John Chernesky's a type of gutty player that the coaches have a lot of fun with. He takes things seriously. He came into the training room during the summer and he said he pulled a muscle, and the coaching staff said, get out there, you don't have any muscles.
On 3rd and long. The reverse. And Schwab was really nailed that time as the Phantom defenders are congratulating number 25, Hugh Ulrich. And I mean, he really put a hit on number 14, the Wing Lions, Chris Schwab. No gain. It'll be 4th and 12.
I've been impressed with the number 65 for the Phantoms, Ken McNeil. He seems to be around the ball often for the defense, and he's playing his heart out there.
On 4th down, the pass for Pufnock, incomplete, almost picked off by one of the Phantom defenders. The score, St. Pius 10-30 and Phoenixville nothing.
Broken up by number 54.
Back here at Coach Mick Stadium, and while we were out for a commercial break, Chris Schwab almost came up with his 2nd interception of the afternoon, and in just a few moments we'll take a look at that play where Schwab almost picked off another Brian Reif pass. It is 2nd down and 10 for the Phantoms. Reif, number 14, calls the signals. On the draw play, that is number 32, Brett Smiley, running hard, and Smiley brought down by number 83, Paul Wheeler.
Well, we see Paul Wheeler coming into the ball game to replace John Yergy.
Take a look at that last play.
We have a straight drop back. If Schwab can hold on to that one, he goes again. Just a fine play. He was in the right spot at the right time, and he read it well. He'll think about that one tonight.
You know, folks, the reason why we came up with this innovation as far as the instant playback is concerned is because, you know, last week we were really totally mad at ourselves, and because we missed a touchdown by Mike Beasley, the fine tailback of Owen J. Roberts. And we here at PCTV have taken a vow to provide you with the best in sports entertainment, because after all, we are the leader in local programming, and we want to make sure that you don't miss an exciting moment of action of Chestmont League football. So that is why we are making this commitment to excellence. Folks, the 1985 Hondas have arrived at Pottstown Honda, but you better hurry because these Hondas are going to move fast. So fast, well, Larry Albert is running up and down Route 422. See the new 4-door Accord LX and the limited edition 4-door Accord SEI. Stop in and see our good buddy Larry Albert if you can catch him, and he'll be happy to show you the new Accords at Pottstown Honda, Route 422, just east of Pottstown. I didn't mean that about Larry really running up and down Route 422. I know he's so busy down there right now with the Hondas at the Pottstown Honda showroom that we don't get an opportunity to see him except on Friday nights.
Yeah, Larry doubles up as our statistician on Friday nights, does a real good job for us. But I don't know about Larry running. I can't even get him to walk around the neighborhood.
Ron, in just a few moments from now, after the next play, we're going to get in our PCTV trivia question of the game, and we'll get it in after this next Phantom play, as they're looking at a 3rd and 4.
I thought you'd never ask me today, Denny.
This one is easy. Right, under a lot of pressure. The screen attempted for number 45, Todd Wallens, is incomplete, but there's a penalty flag back down in the direction of where Brian Reif hit the ground, and a lot of pressure. We may be getting a roughing the passer call against the Wing Lions.
Well, the big tackle, number 72, Joe Szynski, looked like he may have hit a little bit late on the quarterback, but he looked up at the official to tell him he was sorry, but the official just didn't want to hear that.
All right, here's our PCTV trivia question of the game. And the question is, who holds the Chestmont record for passing yardage in a game? Who holds the Chestmont record for passing yardage in a game? Now, we'll let you think about that for a little while. We'll come back with the answer in a few plays from now.
At midfield.
Well, Ron, we have a moment. Who do you think it is?
Well, there's been so many outstanding quarterbacks. We've had Tom Schumann from Pottstown, who later went on to Penn State. We've had Donnie Strock, the very excellent quarterback of the Dolphins.
Now we'll get back to that in just a few moments. Reif on first down, picked up as a result of that roughing the passer penalty. And his pass is complete to Tony Nattle. But little or no gain on the play. It'll be second down and 10 for Phoenixville.
We also had Lance Viola from Springford, who was an outstanding quarterback in the 70s. And I'm leaning toward a very excellent quarterback who had played for the Phantoms, a Steve Reif. And I'm going to hold my answer for a few moments.
On second and 10, Brian Reif under a lot of pressure. Looking downfield for number 20, Dave Mitchell. Passes out of bounds by 1.5 miles, as Reif really had a lot of pressure applied.
As a matter of fact, I'm going to give my answer here because I don't feel that our producer, Mark Pollack, is that creative. And it seems to me that Mark is always leaning toward a specialist in the teams we're covering. So I'm going to say, although there's been excellent quarterbacks, I'm going to give the answer to Steve Reif.
Well, you got one right, Ron.
Well, thank goodness. Geez, that feels good. I felt like I was the dumbest kid in the smartest row.
Reif under a lot of pressure. Finds number 32, Smiley. But Smiley is going to pay for that completion as Jim McCloy, number 11, came in with a few other of his teammates, namely Chris Schwab and number 78, Mark Yerge. All right, here is the answer to the question. Who holds the Chestmont record for passing yardage in a game? In a game now. And the answer is Steve Reif of Phoenixville, who threw for 396 yards in a Chestmont game in 1982.
Don't know what that's done for my weekend. I am really going to be a man about town now for the weekend, just bragging about my
Mark Pollack says he purposely gave you an easy one. Next week, they're going to get much tougher, he says. Well, Jeffers got the boot away. McCloy made the catch by the penalty flag for illegal motion thrown against the Phantoms.
You remember Mac in elementary school, Denny, when if you had gone to a parochial school where the nuns always placed you by your intelligence and they happened to put you in the first seat in the dumbest row? Now, you really felt bad if you were in the last row in the back seat. And that's a little bit the way I've been feeling lately with these trivia questions, but I really feel that I've taken off the dunce cap and emerged here as an authority on trivia.
Wait till next week, though.
Well, Mark is kind of a vindictive personality.
On fourth, the punt by Jeffers, line drive taken by Jim McCloy. Good run back. He brings it up over midfield, and he's finally chased out of bounds by number 63, Jim Seibel. There's the score, 30-0, Wing Lions. Coach McStadium, number 74 for the Phantoms, Todd Van Horn, has just been assisted off the field as he was injured on that punt return by Jim McCloy. Carl Janicki, kicking specialist and backup quarterback, now calling the signals for St. Pius. That's Matt Scarback, P6, as the Wing Lions start from their own 49-yard line. And Scarback picks up a couple of yards. Let's call it second down and 8 for St. Pius 10.
You see Tommy Puffnock coming out of the ball game, being replaced by Reagan, and the Lions starting to substitute freely with a commanding 30-0 lead.
Mike Mikosh, number 25, the lone back behind Carl Janicki. And he'll take the handoff, but as he does, the whistles blow and the penalty flags fly. And while we look to pick up the call, folks, for all your lumber needs, architectural millwork, we're going to hold up. You know, Ron, despite the weather, we do have a good crowd here this afternoon at Coach Mick Stadium. Again, another indication of the fine support that the Wing Lions have earned over the years. And I know that you're very vehement about people coming out and supporting Chestmont football. We'll get your comments on that after this play. 2nd and 12 for the Lions following the penalty. Scarback, number 26, is the ball carrier. And he runs it down to the 45 of Phoenixville. Pick up a 6. It'll be 3rd down and about 6 yards to go for St. Pius X.
Well, I'd like to think that all high school athletics are having a revitalization or a comeback as far as fan support. There for a while we were seeing some of the crowds dwindle, but so far this season we've had outstanding crowds, and the people that come out would agree that it really is a lot of fun.
On 3rd and 6, Janicki, play action. Looking across the middle for John Jurgi, and Jurgi with another big catch, and it appears as though he has enough for a 1st down. As a penalty flag flies in the Pius backfield is Joe Pyatt, number 71, who was one of our guests on our first Chestmont highlight show. Got into a brief tussle with Eric Knight, number 88, who grabbed his face mask, so the penalty will go against the Phantoms' unsportsmanlike conduct. And here's a replay on that foul.
It's like you can see the block thrown by Bobby Preston, number 77, trying to stay with him here. Well, we don't get a chance to see the unsportsmanlike call. It happened in the backfield here where Preston was holding his block. The Phantom got a little bit upset and gave him a little bit of a head slap. That looked like 2 gorillas out there, Georgia the Jungle and McGill Gorilla going at it, and they did call a flag on the Phantoms.
So they'll walk off the penalty from the line of scrimmage, and that'll give St. Pius X a 1st down.
We never like to encourage fighting out there. You know, you kid about 2 guys exchanging niceties, but it never really benefits either club because you get a penalty and you possibly have the problem of being thrown out of a game, and then you don't get a chance to come back and do anything the next play. You're better off taking your licks, coming back the next play, and trying to atone for something.
Well, Phoenixville will exercise one of their 3 timeouts here in the 2nd half. And while they do, folks, for all your lumber needs, architectural millwork, stock millwork, whatever, stop in or call Frederick Brothers at Hanover and East Streets in Pottstown. And don't forget to say hi to Bob Lightcap.
Please claim your ball by the end of the 3rd period.
Don't forget, fans, PCTV, the leader in local programming, is pleased and proud to be here this afternoon. And while we have this timeout, we'd like to pay special thanks to the Reverend James McGuire, the principal of St. Pius X, the athletic director and head coach Jim Mick, his assistants Dave Pasota, Bill Rogers, Bill Palladino, Lou Shalott, Steve Craner, Jack Jurgi, the trainers Mike Guntick and Bill Scott, and the statistician Bill Ruth for all their assistance in helping us to telecast this game. Wing Lions have it 1st and 10 at the Phantom 23-yard line following that penalty. That face mask call against Eric Knight, number 88. Carl Janicki calling the signals as Jim McCloy gets a well-deserved rest. In motion is Sean Parecki, number 41. That is Matt Scarback, number 26. And he is going to be buried for a loss. So the Phantom defense fired up by that call against them.
Yes, they do look fired up. They look like they're going to really play with some emotion right now, which is so vitally important in any football game. You have to play with some enthusiasm and emotion. The momentum switches, changes. We hear that so often, and momentum and enthusiasm work synonymously.
There was a loss of 3 on that play. So the 2nd and 13 for the Wing Lions, who lead it 30-0 as time winds down here in quarter number 3. And before the play can be gotten off, more whistles as we'll have an illegal motion call coming up against St. Pius X. So right now with the reserves in there, got a different cadence, and of course the Phantom defense a bit frustrated all afternoon, and should be a little bit rough and tumble as we wind down this 3rd quarter and enter the 4th.
Well, they play with a lot of pride this 2nd half. You know, they come out in the 2nd half trailing 30-0, and the entire 3rd quarter we've had no scores. So they have been playing. They haven't shown any quitting about them. They've been playing very tough this 3rd quarter.
That's Scarback, number 26. as the Pius line opened a gaping hole, and he ran up the middle for a nice chunk of real estate.
For Pxville. Kickoff is about 11, so we're now 3rd down and 7.
Pickup is 7. It's 3rd down and 8 for the Wing Lions. Mikosh and Scarbeck in the backfield behind Janicki. That is Scarbeck. Scarbeck runs down to about the 13-yard line, but the Wing Lions will be shy of the first down by a couple of yards. We're under a minute to go here in quarter number 3, as Dan Rain, number 61, made the stop for the Phantoms. So Lions looking at a 4th and 4. And they're going to go for it. 30-0 lead. Of course, nothing to lose if they don't make it. The pitch back to Scarbeck. And he's going to be tripped up on a nice tackle by number 83, Gary Stevens of the Phantoms. So a good defensive play by Stevens, and the Phantoms will take over on downs. Just seconds remaining here in quarter number 3. And let's see whether or not the Phantoms will be able to get off another play. Perhaps they will. Brian Reif, number 14, will lead him out. Right now, he's calling for a timeout, but the coaching staff saying, no, don't take it. Let the time run down, and it has. We've come to the end of the 3rd quarter here at Coach Mick Stadium. The score, the Wing Lions 30 and the Phantoms nothing. .82 for the Wing Lions, and he's going to go in for a score. That is Tom Daly, number 82. Daly stepped right in front of the intended receiver, Nattle, and ran it home untouched for the score.
And a beautiful block by Mark Yergi, number 78, to allow his teammate to get into the end zone. Just a crushing, punishing block by 78 Yergi. I hope we can get back to see a replay of that, because we'll see an outstanding block by number 78 Yergi.
Number 78 on that play.
So Tom Daly, who is a junior, standing 6'1", 182, picked off that Rife aerial intended for Nattle, and he runs it home untouched for a score to make it 36-0. Wing Lions, as Janicki's extra point is good, and with 10:47 left here in quarter number 4, it is 37-0, St. Pius 10. Back here at Coach Mick Stadium, 10:47 remaining here in the 4th quarter, and the Wing Lions in command, 37-0. Following a run back of an interception by Tom Daly, a junior defender for the Wing Lions. Janicki's kickoff bounces at the 14, Todd Wallens, number 45, with nothing to do but pick it up and try to run it for some yardage. He does laterally, gains about a yard. So the Phantoms will go to work, 1st and 10 at the 17. And for the second week in a row, the Wing Lions defense and offense have both come up big.
Well, they've looked outstanding today. Certainly when you put 37 points on the board, you're having a good day and you keep your opponent to nothing. It has to be a fabulous day for them. On the other hand, it's been a very bad day for Phoenixville, who I'm sure will bounce back and they'll get stronger as the season goes on.
Rife with the handoff to Wallens, and he's going nowhere. Here's a look at that pickoff by Tom Daly.
Now, if you get a chance in your screen, watch Yergi right here in front. He's going to throw the block just about now. Just wipes out the Phantom there and does an outstanding job to allow his teammate to get into the end zone. Just a great block, and that's what shows it's a team sport.
Gain of 1 by Wallens. It'll be 2nd down and 9 for the Phantoms. Wallens again with a little bit of running room. He's hit by Daly, a fumble. And let's see who recovered it. Wing Lion defenders are saying they have the ball, and they do. Coming up with it was number 13, Brian Allen. So another Phantom turnover, and the Wing Lions will again have the ball with excellent field position, as it'll be spotted at the 23-yard line of Phoenixville. Before the Wing Lions go to work, folks, we had a little audio problem. My microphone earlier in this quarter. We'd like to apologize, but things are back in working order right now. And Ron, the time of the ball game with a big 37-0 lead, where we'll see a lot of the reserves.
Well, we're going to see a lot of reserves now, and they'll probably stay with their same game plan, but they'll have other players playing. They're beginning to clear the bench. And this is not to insult Phoenixville, because these coaches get along very well. A lot of people think that there may be some animosity, but there really isn't. They're all in the profession for the same, to help kids. And Marty Moore and his staff has done an outstanding job over the years. He, much like Pius, has a veteran staff because he's had Anthony Cicchino with him for years, as well as Lonnie Moore. And both of those fellas are fine gentlemen, and they do an outstanding job. It's just that they've had a bad game today on this particular Saturday afternoon. It's a good shot of the Lion cheerleaders on the sideline. They deserve a lot of accolades for the work they do during the season and preparing for the season. Good shot of the people on hand. If you have any egotist in you, come out and see yourself on TV.
Running hard is Mike Mikosh on 1st and 10 from the Phantom 23. Crosses the 15 down to about the 13, and he might even be close enough for a 1st down. Let's see where they spot the ball. It'll be about a yard shy. It'll be at the 14, so it's 2nd and 1. Janicki is the quarterback. Mikosh, number 25. And number 32, Chris Gratton, are the running backs. The handoff goes to number 33. That is Nick Fedek, not Gratton, in the backfield now for the Wing Lions. And Fedek, on his first carry of the afternoon, picks up another Wing Lion 1st down. Ball will be spotted just inside the 10, so it'll be 1st down and goal to go for the Wing Lions, and that has been a familiar phrase here this afternoon.
And these youngsters for the Lions could care less what the score is. They're trying to show what they can do, and they'd like to get something going. They'd like to put another score on the board, knowing that they did the scoring. Phantoms
used their 2nd timeout of this, the 2nd half. And Ron, while we have this break in the action, let us remind you that next week our PCTV featured Chestmont game of the week will have the Pottsgrove Falcons taking on the Pottstown Trojans. Pottsgrove coming off a loss to Downingtown 20-8, while the Pottstown Trojans again went down to defeat at the hands this time of the Boyertown Bears 24-6. But those two clubs, always a good game when they get together. And have you comment on that rivalry after this play as Janicki calls the signals. Again, a lot of whistles and a lot of penalty flags as the youngsters now in the ball game, again gaining some valuable playing time as the offensive line moved a bit prematurely. So the walk off the penalty for procedure. It'll be back at the 14, where it is 1st and goal to go from the 14-yard line.
Didn't look as though the left guard, number 61, Carl Janicki, got set in time and causing a 5-yard penalty.
In motion is Prorecki. The handoff goes to Mikosh. Mikosh gets back 7 of those yards down to the 8. It'll be second down and goal to go for St. Pius X from that point.
Talking about the game coming up between the Trojans and the Falcons, I look for that to be a very exciting ball game. Pottstown the last several weeks has lost a little bit of their early season momentum, and they're going to have to rebound. And the Falcons have been playing very good football. They've had some tough games.
Janicki with the pitch back to Fedek. And Janicki
number 33.
managed to get the ball off just in time. Fedek is stopped for about a yard loss. The ball will be spotted back at the 9. So it is third down and goal to go for this young wing-lined offense.
Did you realize the Falcons played two teams that are undefeated? They played Henderson, and then he played Downingtown back-to-back, and they've done a respectable job.
Well, the Wing Lions failed to make this, but let's see what happens here as they unscramble the pile.
Lions are going to have the ball.
Have a penalty flag. And let's see what the call. It looks like it's going to go against the Phantoms as the offensive players for St. Pius X all raised their arms in glee.
Apparently one of the Phantoms defenders was not happy with the official's call. May have said that he was sorry, he disagreed with the call, and it resulted in unsportsmanlike conduct.
Well, the penalty will move the ball half the distance to the goal, the nose of it just inside the 5-yard line. So it'll be fourth and goal to go from that point. 7:16 left here in the fourth quarter as Carl Janicki, number 27, barks out last-minute instructions. The handoff to number 86 for the Lions. That is Sean Stuska, and Stuska is just short of the goal line. And I'll tell you, from this vantage point, it looked as though he might have gotten across. I don't know if that ball isn't across the goal line, then I'm not Ron Reed.
Well, that certainly did look very close to the score.
Okay, it's 37-0, the Wing Lions. Along with Ron Reed. 7:02 remains here in the fourth quarter. There's a good shot of Bill Rogers, the line coach here at St. Pius X, former head coach at Pottstown High School. And Bill, in his tenure here now, I believe it's 6 or 7 years, has done an outstanding job with the linemen, and they got some big studs in this Pius team.
He and the Pius coaching staff have had a tremendous chemistry. He's just done an outstanding job with the Lions. He's an excellent line coach, and his players really have a lot of respect for Bill.
Well, the Phantoms, they can't do any worse. Their backs literally against the walls. We'll start from the half-yard line. Brian Reif with a handoff to number 32, Brett Smilan. He's met head-on by number 87, Bill Allen. We'll pick up some of these reserves. A lot of new numbers in the defense right now for St. Pius X. Don't forget, our next Chessmont Highlight Show will be coming to you during the week of October the 7th. And on that program, Ron and I will be talking to some of the youngsters who play for the Pottstown Trojans and the Pottsgrove Falcons. So we bring you up to date on what's happening around the Chessmont League. Brian Reif again. Up to Smiley. And he again gets maybe a half a yard. So it'll be third down and 8 for the Phantoms. The ball at their own 3.
The Lion defense doing a real nice job trying to keep the Phantoms deep there in their territory about the 1-yard line. And this is not a veteran defense, and they're doing a real nice job.
Number 63, Kevin Klarczewski, responsible.
Number 76 there, the left tackle, Jesse Crater, looks like a pretty nice sized prospect. He's 6'2", 187, 11th grader.
Jim Yoakum leads him to the line of scrimmage. Reif across the middle has Nattle, and it'll be a Phantom first down as he's hit by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Wing Lion defenders. led by number 84, Greg Heflin. Young sophomore, but it's a phantom first down as Wright finds the mark, connecting with Nattle.
He has a very fine arm. He's going to be something to reckon with here. He's thrown very nicely to Nattle. Nattle does a good job trying to run, but the Lion defense gang tackled well and held him to a short gainer.
Rife again to Nattle on the crossing pattern. And it looks as though he has enough for another phantom first down. So Phoenixville's strategy, obviously, try to get some points on the board, salvage a little bit of that respect that they tried to earn here this afternoon. And despite the fact they're losing 37-0, the following small crowd that it is still very vocal following the Phantoms here this afternoon.
And that was absolutely a great throw by Brian Rife. He had Nattle running a look in, and that ball got to there very, very quickly.
First down and 10 at the 26 of Phoenixville. That's Rife going downfield for Nattle. He's got some room and just over his outstretched arms. Covering on the play was Carl Janicki with an assist from Tim Ellis, number 20.
Brian just delivered a beautiful spiral down the field, which I think should have been caught by Nattle. And had Nattle caught it, he would have been in the, he would have gone the whole distance.
Nattle did have a step on the two young defenders.
Well, we're getting an opportunity to see what Brian Rife can do when he's not under tremendous pressure. The first team for the Lions, the defense, is putting tremendous pressure on Brian Rife. Now they have some of their younger players who are not giving him the pressure, and he's really doing a nice job throwing.
Second down and 10. The big rush. And Rife is buried by number 87, Bill Allen. This pass was intended for number 22, Nate Muffett.
They can call me a liar. I just said they didn't have a pass rush, and Bill Allen must have heard me down in the field because he really came on the stunt. Watch Bill Allen inside just come through almost untouched. I don't know if the left guard was going to pull back and block, but he just didn't see Allen come through the seam.
Third and 10. Rife on the outside for Nattle. The pass complete after a pickup of about 5 yards. So it'll be fourth and about 5 for the Phantoms. And isn't that instant replay wonderful?
It's nice. It's nice to see these plays run back, and it's you get an opportunity to analyze them a little bit better. When you go to a game live anymore, you look up at the camera and you're waiting for the instant replay. If they don't have a camera, you're disappointed.
Well, I think that's a great innovation on the part of PCTV, and as Frank Patera would say, it's simply marvelous. 4th and 6 for the Phantoms. Mike Jeffers, number 82, will kick it away. Rush is on. Kick almost blocked. Wobbly kick takes a phantom roll. And Scarbeck will just watch it roll out of bounds aimlessly at around the 35-yard line of Pius, where the Winged Lions, with 3:59, will have it once again, and they have a 37-0 lead. And again, don't forget, our game next week will feature the Pottstown Trojans at Grigg Memorial Field when they host the Pottsgrove Falcons. That's always a big backyard brawl. And Ron, the Pottstown Trojans again had a brilliant opening game effort against Holy Name and then fell flat in their faces against Coatesville and St. Pius and against Boyertown just recently. So they've got a long way to go. But they got Glenn Reinert and company, and they just could come back. And we'll get your comments on their upcoming game against Pottsgrove in just a moment. Long count, Janicki with the handoff to Mikosh, number 25. Mikosh, spirited little runner, and a penalty flag on the play. And while they're sorting things out, what about Glenn Reinert and company's chances against Pottsgrove?
Well, as I said earlier, Pottstown played Boyertown, and Boyertown did a good job keeping the ball. And Friday night, Boyertown kept the ball for 7 minutes. Pottstown gets the ball and 2 plays later scores. Now, if Pottstown can get the ball and keep the offense off the field of the opponent, they're going to be right in a lot of games. But their defense has been a little suspect the last couple of weeks. The Falcons, on the other hand, I think have been playing outstanding for the size and for the experience that they do not have. And they've played some tough opponents. So I look for that game to be a very even ball game, and I think it's critical to the confidence of the Trojans to have a turnaround.
All right, the Unsportsmanlike conduct penalty moves it to the Phantom 43, and on 1st and 10, Nick Fedek gets the call and is brought down for loss of about a yard. So it'll be 2nd down and 11 for St. Pius X, as the Wing Lions will try to let their young offensive club now on the field do their thing. Officials timeout right now for an equipment repair to Nick Fedek, number 33. Only 3:18 remaining here in the 4th quarter. And the Wing Lions right now can safely say that they are 2-1 in Chessma League action, while looking at a 3-1 overall mark.
The Phantoms also are giving some people a chance to play this ball game now.
It's Mike Mikosh, number 25.
Well, Mike ran the ball real good some of these other plays, but that time Mike stuttered a little bit. You got to hit up in that hole. And I'm sure when Mike looks at the game film, he's going to be upset at himself there because he really didn't hit up in there with any authority.
It's 3rd down and 11 for St. Pius X. 2:30 left here in the 4th quarter. As the pitch back, a high one goes to Fedek, and he's met head on by Eric Knight, number 88, with an assist from number 20, Dave Mitchell. So the Phantoms will fall to 0-4, and it'll be a long bus ride home. Although the mileage isn't great, the kids from Phoenixville will have to go back to the drawing board, and Marty Moore and his assistants will be looking for some help during practice this week. So in 4th and 11, Carl Janicki, number 27, will come in the punt as Mitchell drops back as the lone safety. Good kick by Janicki. Mitchell fumbles it, and it's recovered by the Wing Lions. St. Pius will have it 1st and 10 at the Phoenixville 6-yard line as number 80, Mike Reagan, fell on that loose pigskin as Mitchell heard some footsteps that time.
Well, it was just a tremendous punt and gave Reagan a chance to get downfield, and he did a nice job picking up the ball. Watch him drop the ball. Reagan tries to pick it up and run with it. Now, he couldn't advance it, but he just did a very good job covering on the play.
So Carl Janicki will go to work. 1st and goal to go from the 6. He slips, and it is ruled that Janicki's knee touched the ground back around the 9-yard line. So they'll lose a couple of yards in the play, and it'll bring 2nd and goal to go from the 9-yard line.
Pius' head coach Jim Mick is looking at his assistants like, what the heck is Janicki doing out there with that handoff? But I have to remind him he's the quarterback coach. And he'll take the credit there or the blame for that poor exchange.
Janicki to Sean Staska, number 86. Staska going nowhere as number 88, Eric Knight, came up to wrap his arms around him and drop him for a loss of about a yard. So it's 3rd and goal to go from the 10.
Let me ask you a question here, Denny, now. Let you be the color analyst with 30-some seconds. Would the Lions try to kick a field goal and make it 40 points, or would they just allow the clock to run out?
If I'm the quarterback right now and I have a 37-0 lead, I'll just do the best that I can. And that's what the Wing Lion quarterback is trying to do.
We always like about you, a man of decisions.
As Wing Lions will be looking at a 4th and goal, just 10 seconds left, and it appears as though the clock will run out as the Wing Lions will just let the time tick away, and St. Pius X will wrap up an exciting afternoon, at least for them, as they soundly thrash the Phoenixville Phantoms. The final, St. Pius X 37 and Phoenixville nothing. Ron and I will be back with our post-game analysis after these timeouts.